students. Welcome to the Web Application Challenges section on Pentester Academy. Now in this video, I am going to show you the solution for the HTTP basic authentication attack. So let's jump right in. Now this was the actual challenge which I posed, and if you try to enter Pentester Academy, you would notice that you get a username prompt, and I have provided hints that the username can either be Nick or admin, and the basic auth password complexity can be 5 characters at most and only uses A, S and D, that too in lowercase, right? So an example could be Nick, and let's say ASDD, or just to keep it simple, let's say I just put a Nick, which is of course wrong, but I'm not supposed to know the username password, and there you go, right? So how do you solve this? Well, you can use Hydra, which I have talked about in a previous challenge, or you can use Burp. Now I'm going to show you with Burp because, to be honest, over time I'd like you to use Burp much more, simply because it really is a platform to do tasks and rather than an isolated tool only for certain exceptional circumstances like what Hydra is. Okay, so while Burp is coming up, let's basically set the proxy settings, edit preferences, network settings, and let's set the proxy to localhost 8080, which is the default listening port for Burp. Let's also go back to the main page and get ready for Burp. Here you go. Let me click on the proxy tab, quickly check basically that Burp is listening. Fantastic. And I'm going to quickly go back in here, click enter Pentester Academy, and I think this time the request goes through Burp, and let me go ahead and say you should probably forward the request, and we get pointed out with this. Let's say Nick, click in OK. Again we come back here to Burp, and we're going to send this request, because we want to work with this, to the intruder. As soon as we send it, you see that intruder automatically starts blinking. Let's remove intercept on, and let's go off to interceptor. Now, what is the challenge in here? Usernames can be Nick and admin, and password basically consisting of A, S and D, at most 5 characters, right? So let's see how we can set up this attack for a basic authorization case. Now this is the HTTP request, and as you can see, here is the authorization header. It says authorization basic, and you have something which does no way resemble Nick here, right? The reason is simply because this is encoded. So to decode this, we can right click that, say convert selection base 64, and say base 64 decode. And if you notice right now, it basically says Nick, right? Of course, we'll always have to send it base 64 encoded. So that is something you need to keep in mind. However, the place where we want to add our marker this time for automation is this place. Let's go ahead and add it. We'll select sniper, go to payloads, and let's go ahead and again do brute force. And I'm going to give in PANS, which is basically what is the allowed character set, 5 and 5, right? Now if you notice, when we decoded this set, basically the username and the password are separated by a colon. Now username only has 2 possibilities, Nick and admin, while password has multiple possibilities, right? 253, actually lesser than 253 to be exact. But if you just did a blind permutation with disregard to the fact that we are repeating adjacent characters, 243 is what we would have, right? So coming back in here, what I need is the password generated by brute forcer should be prefixed with the username, right? This is where in payload processing I can click add, select rule type and say add prefix. And I have two options. One is nick and admin. First run, let me just use nick. So I'm going to say nick. And remember, there is a colon separating the username and password as we saw in the HTTP request we captured. So here goes. And after that, we also need this whole string to be base 64 encoded. So we're again going to say click add, rule type encode, encoding type base 64 encode, right? And in this, we're going to click OK. Now, one important thing when you work with the authorization header is that equal to needs to be allowed and you should not encode it with any URL encoding schemas, right? Keep that in mind. So I've changed that in the URL encode these characters set. And everything else seems to be fine. So here is what we're going to do. Click on intruder and click start attack. And there we go. So 243 possibilities. Let's see what happens. Let me go ahead and pause this video, right? Just so that we don't waste a lot of time in just you guys watching burp work. So we are almost there at the very end of the brute force attack, 242 of 243. Unfortunately, no luck yet, right? What this probably means is that Nick was a bad choice, and we now need to go ahead and test the whole thing with admin again. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to my payloads. I'm going to click on add prefix, edit it, and change Nick to admin. Click on OK. Go back to intruder and click start attack. Right? And of course, I know that probably admin has the right passphrase, but why did I do it? Because I want you to know that do not get impatient. Here you go. So if you notice, we get 200, right? Fantastic. And the passphrase which ended up doing this, and the passphrase which ended up doing this for us can in a second be decoded. Is admin AA triple D. Okay, fantastic. We can also look at the response from here itself. We can even render the response. And there you go. It says challenge cracked. And even though Burp Suite is a great proxy tool for attacks, I think it's a bad browser because this isn't rendered too cool. Okay, so AA triple D is really what does the job for us, right? AA triple D. If I may check again real quick, AA triple D, and we can go back in here and type in admin AADDD, hit an OK, and there you go. Challenge 3 done, challenge 3 cracked. So I hope you're slowly seeing, that Burp is such a powerful platform that you can really go ahead and do so many things with it, right? So that's all for this video, guys. Thank you.